So let's begin our review of the team with the stalwart and brave leader of the group, Pyra Magna, who of course is a fire truck because, you know, hotspot mold. Although she is painted in red, so it actually looks more like a fire truck. You know, it rolls pretty well. I'm really disappointed that the hubcaps are not picked out in silver. That seems like a really big oversight on a robot that's part of a gift set. But they do have other details, like the Cybertronian kanji on the side, and you know, it kind of goes all around. That's also on the other side for symmetry's sake. I have the weapon attached in this mode. The best way I could find a way to store it. Like this goes on the side, and then this thing goes on the ladder. It's just two big unpainted pieces of gray plastic, but you can combine them. I think this way. Yeah. Wait, or oh, like this. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, it forms like a big pickaxing. I couldn't really find a good way to attach this in the vehicle mode. That's why I had to take it apart. But let's look at this later on when she's in robot mode. So the truck. The ladder, it moves at the base and it can also rise. Pretty good extension it has going on. There's more hinges here, but that's more for transformation than for any play value in truck mode. And just like any other version of this mode, you have like what looks like a little water nozzle coming out here. Although you know, it's kind of obvious because the way it's painted that that's the combined mode's head. In fact, you get a little bit of a peekaboo factor here, as her face is really covered by just, you know, like, hey there, I'm Victorion. Oop, I hide now. You know, so peekaboo factor aside, it's pretty good. I mean, that is a pair of hips there in the middle, and from underneath, you know, you see the hands. Hands are barely visible there. And if you move the ladder aside, you can see the robot mode head. Let's see if we can catch it with the light, and then see, you totally see her face in there. So yeah, this truck features not one, but two barely hidden heads. Alright, so let's get her into robot mode. And here we have the mighty Pyra Magna in her glorious robot mode, which is a hotspot with a new head and hands, as well as her really nice teal and red color scheme. Now, about that color scheme, I'm sure a lot of you remember the original prototypes that were shown off, and everybody on the internet complained about how loud and obnoxious the colors were. They were, and I totally agreed, they were utterly eye-raping. That obnoxiously bright teal and that Jolly Rancher red just outright assaulted my senses. So I'm glad that by the time they got to mass production, they gave her a much more muted color scheme with a nice sea green and a tamer shade of red that isn't quite so eye-bleeding. That said, there are a couple of little physical problems with this figure that I'm not sure is a fault with the hotspot mold itself. First of all is how the instruction sheet outright lies to you. Take a look. You see that picture of Pyra Magna? She has like a really cool backpack with a pair of glorious wings coming out over her shoulders and all that. Yeah, that's a load of crap. There is no way you can get that look with the figure the way it transforms. Because take a look at her backpack here. It's the ladder folded up. So if I were to open up these things to try and create the wings, they're facing the wrong direction. And then, like, you can't rotate this around because then the ladder's going to be sticking up over her head by like half her body length and look stupid. So the instructions are completely and utterly lying to you when they show you a picture of how she looks completed. I swear, I spent like 20 minutes fussing with this figure, trying to figure out how they got that look the first time I transformed her, only to finally conclude that no, she doesn't do that. The second fault is with the figure's knees. There's really nothing stopping them. Like, I heard that there was a misassembly error, and like a part got put in backwards. It makes the figure a tiny bit taller, but it also prevents her knees from working right. I mean, is there a fix? Did I just transform it wrong? Anybody who has experience with the hotspot mold, let me know. But I have done everything I can with these knees, and I don't think that I'm doing anything wrong with them, but I don't think that they're right. A misassembly is the only thing I can think of. But aside from that, the figure is actually quite nice. So let's have a quick breakdown of her articulation. You got some delightful ratchet shoulders, and then there's outward movement this way. You have a double jointed elbow with a ratchet in this part. You got a bicep swivel. Unfortunately, there's no wrist, but I guess the bicep swivel can work with the elbow to kind of give you a de facto wrist. There's no torso articulation because of the way the figure is constructed, but she does have some nice clicking knees, hips. Although, I don't think the click points are right. Like, here she is standing completely straight. Now I'll go one click point out on each leg. That's kind of far for a single click point. That's always the thing with these hip ratchets. They always just need more click points. So Hasbro, whenever you're making figures, more click points in the ratchets for the hips. Let's see, there's only 3 click points before maximum extension. I can't seem to get it out to a 4th click point, so that's as far as the leg goes. So yeah, not enough click points. That is a huge problem, not having enough click points. There's a thigh swivel, although it's super tight on mine. In fact, the thigh swivel is so tight, it makes the knee look hilariously limp by comparison. And although the knee isn't... The knee is kind of double jointed, so you get a good deep range out of it. Like, it's a transformation joint. The only thing keeping it from going all the way is like the way the hips, the way the shin is built. So that's good. No articulation at the feet unless you untransform it. Then you kind of have a toe joint. So not bad. Although it's like, I don't know, like it's a double jointed knee, but I just can't stand how. What is it with that? It would really flipping this. Look, you see this part here. I got the feeling like this is supposed to be the stopper that prevents it from going all the way around. And as you can see on this end, it isn't present. See? There's nothing to stop the knee from continuing to move forward. So I think if this piece was flipped around, then that would solve the problem. The thing is, I tried dismantling the leg, and it's held together with glue and pins that are not accessible because they're buried under plastic. So the leg literally cannot be dismantled without breaking the toy. So I don't know if there is a fix for that. Even if you know how to dismantle toys, there's no way to fix it without, damaging the poor thing. There's also a problem with the shoulder wheels liking to pop off very easily. I found a couple of her wheels popped off. I mean, it's not that big a deal, I guess, but they're not painted and they just come out really easily. That's a pain. That is a major pain. And, for all of her tight, ratcheted joints, those weak knees really do bring down this figure. I would say so much things in positive praise, and if it wasn't for those knees, one drawback in the figure's physical construction. I'm not sure if this is a thing that's going to affect all Victorions. Maybe this is just because I pre-ordered the original set, and maybe later sets will have fixed this problem, but it's really not something that should have gone out in the first place. Her accessory is this, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna call it a pickaxe. So yeah, she comes with this really cool looking pickaxe. It's very well molded and looks nice. It's completely unpainted gray plastic, but I guess it's still okay. So she looks fine. Let's get a quick little zoom in. Oh, by the way, referring to the paint job once again, I remember the prototypes seem to have a lot of simulated scratches painted onto them. Like there were gray marks here. It kind of looked like somebody just spilled silver paint on them, and it didn't look good. I am glad they did away with the faux damage with their paint jobs. So you know, the original molding is here in her head. It's a really nice looking head. She has makeup essentially around her eyes, those baby blue eyes with the red surrounding them. Very, very nice, full lips. They did not paint on lipstick, which I think I'm okay with, because, you know, the story is that these are a bunch of survivalists who managed to live in the Sea of Rust, and, I don't know, having them all glammed up like runway models would probably be going a little bit too far. As we scroll down, you see, you know, like the color scheme holds. It's a very solid scheme. They decided to give all 6 of the robots a unified color scheme, as opposed to the whole Voltron-esque Megazord mix match of colors that the other combiner teams have, which I guess is okay. It's nice to start from the ground up knowing that you're making a combiner, so you get to pre-make your color scheme. And she does have, I'm pretty sure these are new hands, because, you know, you can make hands feminine too. So, I mean, I don't have Hotspot or Onslaught, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that those are new feminine hand sculpts. Alright, so yeah, bad knees aside and a lying instruction sheet, I think Pyra Magna looks really good on her own. So, yay for her. Let's move on to the next figure.